Whichever logo this filter lands on, I'm gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, Firefox. Ooh, I think I have an idea. Let's go. Okay, my vision for this one is to find a spooky font and call it werewolf. And then we gotta make the fox look a little more like a wolf, make it grayscale, and probably add in some like scary eyes and a nose and some fangs. And then for the purple ball in the middle, I think we have to make it be a full moon. All right, so I found this image and I'm gonna just make it fit perfectly in there. And then I do wanna add some kind of blending effect so that it still has the purple shades under it. Okay, here's how that's looking. Now I wanna make the whole fox be black and white. But to bring in some of that original color, I'm gonna type out werewolf in the orange from the Firefox in this logo called Carnage. Now I brought it into Procreate and I'm gonna add some things in there to make it look more like a wolf. So adding in like a wolf's nose and then kind of like more of a wolf's eye shape. I added in a fang and the last thing I want to do is just make it look like it has a little bit of blood dripping off of it, and here is the final result. This werewolf surrounding the moon, I didn't honestly have to change too much for it, but I am in love with how this one turned out. I think the overall vibe is kind of spooky, Halloween-y, kind of Harry Potter. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, I'm gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, 7 Up. All right, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking for this one is calling it 7 Down and then making it look like the whole logo is like in hell, and maybe that the 7 itself is the devil. So I think I want to change all the colors to be more like shades of red, and then find a really creepy font for down, and then give some details in here like the devil. So I found this really fun font called Burn the Witch that I typed in down on. And now I'm gonna change all of the colors to be shades of red. All right, now taking this like deeper red, I'm gonna start adding in little details to kind of make it look like the devil. So a couple like creepy little eyes in here. Obviously have to throw in some horns and a little tail. And then taking these two colors, I want to add some like flames coming up from the bottom. Taking that brighter color, I'm going to add in some little extra flame details and finally add some darker ones to the bottom, and here is the final result. Honestly, I don't love the name, but I am so happy with this little hell design that I did for it. I think it turned out so kind of adorable, but also spooky. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, I'm gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, in and out. All right, let's go. Okay, it might not be the best name, but I'm thinking what we call it is in and haunt. And then, I don't know, something about these vintagey kind of signs that In-N-Out has, I'm thinking what if we take a creepy spin on it and make it look like the Bates Motel sign. So something with this exact shape and everything, and then we make it look kind of like it's neon, but that maybe like the lights have gone out a little bit in some of the letters, or it's just like overall, I want to make it look old and creepy. All right, so the first step is going to be to recreate the general shape of the Bates Motel sign using the pen tool. All right, here's how that's looking. Now I'm going to erase the word out and replace it with the word haunt. Now to get that kind of neon effect, what I'm going to do is just take the pen tool and make these simple white lines within each of the letters. Now I'm going to add an inner shadow to everything and just play around a little bit with the distance and the size to make it look like the lights are on and this is in shadow. And then for each of the little white lines, we can add an outer glow to make it look like it is glowing. Now I do want to make some of the letters look like they're turned off. So what I'm going to do is turn off that outer glow. And then I want to change the actual color of the letter to be like black. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to do this really cool thing by doing the dissolve effect and adding a shadow in there so that it has this really cool like vintage style to it. Last step, I'm going to add an outer glow to almost everything, and here is the final result. Honestly, this one was way more involved than I normally go on these, but I am so happy that we followed through and finished it. I think it looks creepy, definitely giving that Bates Motel sign vibes. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, we're gonna give it a spooky redesign. Okay, Instagram. All right, let's go. Okay, so for this one, I'm thinking, what if we call it Witchtagram? And then I want to take this gradient logo and make it be in the shape of a witch's hat. And then I'm thinking that the actual little Instagram camera photo logo can be tightened down and make to look like the witch hat buckle. All right, so the first step is going to be to remove the inner white part of the logo. And then using the pen tool, I am gonna get the general shape of a witch's hat going. Okay, there is my shape. Now I'm gonna mask it out. I'm gonna bring back that original logo and place it kind of around where the witch's buckle on the hat would be. And then the last step is gonna be to draw on the strap. And finally, type out the word Witchtagram in this spooky font, and here is the final result. This is definitely one of the more cutesy ones of these that I've done. I think that the name is just really funny, and honestly, I love the idea of making the little Instagram logo be the buckle on the witch's hat. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, we're gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, Amazon, all right. Okay, what I'm thinking for this one is we call it Amazombie and find like a creepy, almost gory font for that. And then for the smile, I mean, we have to make it look like it is a zombie mouth, and then maybe we can put some little zombie eyes up above it. So I'll probably do all that with hand drawing in Procreate. But first, I found this font called Holy Blood that I'm gonna type out Amazombie in. Now I brought it into Procreate and I'm gonna turn the smile kind of like this dead zombie green, and then start adding in details like rotting teeth and I don't know, just maybe like we put like boils on the lips, things like that. All right, so here's how that's looking. Now I wanna take yellow and color in all of the teeth. All right, of course we also need to add a little bit of like blood dripping off of some of these teeth. And lastly, I want to go ahead and give like a similar vibe from the illustration I've already done, but add in just these kind of like ghostly looking eyeballs. So I'm gonna do that, and here is the final result. I think the name Amazombie is just so perfect for this one, and I love whenever I get to have my fun little creepy illustrations, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, we're gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, Disney. All right, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking for this one is we call it Dismay, and we find a fun, scary font to type that out in. And then I wanna bring this into Procreate, maybe make the little thing in the back be like a full moon over a spooky castle. So I think I'll probably draw in a bunch of creepy little details within the castle, make it look like it's in disarray. Okay, I found this fun font called Deadfall that I'm gonna type out Dismay in. And then the first thing I'm gonna do is make the entire background look like a full moon. I'm gonna add in some shading for the moon, as well as go in with a darker pen and kind of get some craters in there. Okay, here's how that's looking. Now I want to go in on the castle with some green to kind of make it look like it's been overgrown with like moss and vines. Now I want to put some holes in it, just like as if some of the windows have broken out or like some pieces of the roof are missing, things like that. All right, now I'm going to add on some like boards, almost as if the place has been boarded up or attempted to be repaired. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and here is the final result. Honestly, the name of this one is just so funny. I love when I redo the Disney one because it has such a distinct font, and then to be able to give it a new font, and then honestly, I just think what we did with this one, making the castle look so creepy, is just so fun. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, we're gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, X. Okay, let's go. Okay, for this one, I came up with a perfect name. Hex. And I'm thinking we can try to find some kind of spooky font that's in this kind of similar style to this font. And then type out the word hex. And then I think I want to do like an illustration of maybe like a witch hat, a witch's nose, something on it to give the idea that it's like a witch putting a hex on the logo. Okay, I found this perfect font called Near Myth that I'm gonna type out hex in. And now I brought it into Procreate and I'm just gonna try to draw on like the creepiest looking witch hat that I possibly can. Okay, I am loving how this looks. Now I think it could be fun to put in some like creepy witch's ears on either side of this E, as well as like a creepy witch nose down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and here is the final result. Honestly, the name Hex is just so funny. I'm so glad that we found a font that's like kind of similar to the New York Times style font that the original logo had, except making it spooky. Honestly, there's not too much else to this one, but let me know what you think about it in the comments. Whichever logo this filter lands on, we're gonna give it a spooky Halloween redesign. Okay, Airbnb. Okay, let's go. Okay, so what I'm thinking for this one is we call it Scare B&B. I wanna find a fun, kind of goofy horror font for this one because I think overall this one's just going to be really cute, because my other idea is to put a little ghost sheet and cut out some eye holes over the original Airbnb logo just because it's almost already the shape of a ghost. So I found this fun font called Dead Man's that I'm going to type out Scare B&B. Okay, I brought it into Procreate and now I'm going to just attempt to make it look like there is a sheet over it by adding in a bunch of little like ruffles and other things to give the idea that the sheet is kind of like blowing in the wind a little bit. Okay, here's how that's looking. I really love it. Now I'm gonna put 2 little eye holes in it. I made sure to put them low enough so that you could see the logo peeking through. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and outline them in the same black pen that I used for everything else, and here is the final result. Turning the little Airbnb symbol into a ghost was just a must with this one, and I think actually it's one of the ones that looks cute as opposed to spooky, but the name Scare B&B, you just can't get better than that. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments.